Hi, you're listening to Seven Diggy, and this is your host, Eskimo Jones. Today, I want to talk about object constancy and borderline personality disorder. Now, object constancy. Let's take a small child, for example, and say that you have a car in your hand, and the child is all, yeah, this car is nice, it's mine. Then you close your hand and put it behind your back, the child starts crying. The child is not aware that the object still exists. Out of sight, out of mind, they think the car no longer exists. That's why when you bring it back and open your hand, the child begins to smile again. So this can happen with borderline personality disorder. It can happen in adults. What they say is that it's a defense mechanism that was created when you were a young child. It could have been due to trauma, neglect, or any number of other things. In my case, it would have to do with neglect and trauma, which I won't get into now, but I may in some later videos. So, object constancy basically in a romantic relationship is where it rears its ugly head the most. I would spend time with my significant other and, for the most part, enjoy myself unless I'm having some kind of episode. But then we would part. And as soon as she's gone, it doesn't take that long for me to develop a sort of amnesia. Once she leaves, I start to forget what it's like to be around her. I start to forget the space that she occupies when she's with me. I start to forget the good times that we've had, and she slowly starts to disappear from my memory. And it's quite nerve-wracking, to say the least. So we could get on the phone, we could do Google Hangouts or Skype or something, and I'll see her, but now she's just a digital version of herself, and I have a hard time connecting to her. So with that lack of object constancy comes a disconnection. And that's part of the defense mechanism that they say develops in small children. For example, you have a dad that's not present in your life and you're 2, 3, 4 years old. He comes around, pats you on the head, says hi, you're happy, dad's home, and then he leaves and doesn't come back for another year, which was my case. So you develop this defense mechanism where out of sight, out of mind, you have to just totally cut them off because otherwise it'll hurt too much. So you create these neurological pathways and whatever, and you just forget. And you start thinking of other things and doing other things, and you totally block them out mentally and emotionally so you don't have to suffer. And that's an unfortunate thing to have happen because when you're older, if you develop borderline personality disorder, when you're older, you can have a huge problem when separating from someone. It could be a friend, it could be a family member, but in my case, it's my significant other. So what I've been learning to deal with lately through mindfulness and through meditation, what I've been doing lately to sort of keep her alive, if you will, keep her memory alive, is that when we are together, what I like to do is, well, try to stay mindful and present. You know, don't let your mind get away your thoughts get away with you, and start traveling to distant lands and into the horrible future and all these other things. Try to stay as present as possible, and this is going to help you for the future. Try to stay as present as possible. Be mindful of yourself, your emotions, your thoughts, and the space that you yourself occupy. Be mindful of that. Try to stay grounded is what I'm saying. So stay grounded, and when you're with your significant other, whenever you have a moment of happiness, of joy or bliss, or even some laughter, put a flag on it in your head. Say to yourself, remember this, it exists. And try to do that constantly whenever anything goes on that's joyful, that's happy, that's exciting, that's good, or even neutral is fine too, as long as it's not an obsessive negative thought. But even if it's just a neutral thought, like, hey, we're sitting down speechless, both of us, and I'm quite comfortable. Put a flag on it in your mind. Mark that. Take a mental note and say, this is good. This is what I feel. Ask yourself what you feel. I feel calm and peace, or I feel joy, or I feel love, I feel happiness. And you'll use this later on to remind yourself that he or she does exist when you're having this difficulty from separation. So what I like to do also is incorporate that when I meditate, and you have to make meditation a daily practice, in my opinion, and the opinion of many others, scientists in the field of psychology, say that practicing mindfulness and meditation is one of the best things that you can do for borderline personality disorder. So when you do meditate, and if you don't, I suggest that you do. And by no means is this a cure for anything. These are just suggestions. This is something that works for me in my life. I would highly have to recommend a therapist if you don't already have one. And if you do, maybe run this by them. So when you meditate, those mental notes that you took, bring them up. So in your meditation, you can try a simple meditation. It's an inner-outer experience, so, or thoughts and judgment. You can close your eyes simply and allow your mind to run free. Without any judgment, allow your mind to run free. Let it do whatever it's going to do for a few, maybe about a minute or a little less. Let it do whatever it's going to do. And just watch it. Face it. Allow yourself to feel that anxiety if you have any. Allow yourself to feel that panic if you have any. I have a panic disorder myself, and it can get really, really bad. But I realize that if I allow myself to face it and not try to run from it, not try to disguise it or say, no, I'm fine, I'm not having a panic attack, I'm not going to have a panic attack, this isn't real. It only causes more of a panic attack. So what I do is I say, I'm having a panic attack. I feel my palms getting sweatier. My mind is racing. I feel like I'm going to die. I feel like I'm going to end up in the hospital. I'm sitting right here, right now, having a panic attack, and it's overwhelming, and I'm afraid that I'm going to have a heart attack right now. I just face it, and it eventually just has nowhere else to go, so it goes away. So when I'm meditating, I do that. I like to face everything, bring it all up, let my mind race, and tell myself the worst case scenarios. Yes, she left me. Yes, she's going to leave. Yes, I don't remember her. Yes, I suffer from this object Constancy. I have amnesia right now. I don't know who she is. I can't connect to her mentally or emotionally. And I say these things to myself with my eyes closed in my mind, and I allow my body to just feel the sensations, feel that anxiety. And it's gotten to a point where it's so mild on a scale from 1 to 10, it'll be a 1 now. And it used to be, a 9, 10. So I allow that to happen, and then I feel the sensation, and I tell myself, this is anxiety. So you have to name it. Name it. Tell yourself where it exists. It's in my head. It's in my face, in my jaw, in my chest, in my legs, my arms. Just feel it. Give it a number on a scale. And then take your mind to a place that's more quiet and try to just listen to the sounds that you hear around you. And when your mind tries to race, just gently move away from those thoughts and go back to listening to the sounds that you hear around you. Now, you can repeat this over and over again. Go back to the thoughts and judgments, but don't judge yourself. Just allow them to happen, and then slowly drift back into listening to the sounds around you, or be mindful of your own breathing. Do that for about a minute, back and forth, back and forth. But when you're in this quiet place, eventually I want you to bring up those red flags that you put on. Not red flags meaning bad things. I'm using red flag. I know it means a bad thing. The flags that you put on those good, the yellow flags that you put on those good moments. Bring them up. Remind yourself that they exist. We had a good time. We sat on the park bench. And breathe that in as you tell yourself in your mind, I was calm and relaxed. Breathe that in. He or she exists. Breathe that in. He or she smiled. We held hands. We shared some good moments together, and remember those moments. And so I've incorporated that into my meditation, and I do that daily. I do that daily. I do a half an hour meditation every day at 6 p.m. without skipping a day. And it seems to be working. I'm a lot calmer. And when there are those occasions, because I'm not going to lie, there are those occasions where, I'm walking around feeling lost. I can't access those emotions. I can't access those feelings, those memories. I've learned that I don't have to have an emotion attached to anything at all. So just because I don't feel giddy or I don't feel love or I don't feel in love doesn't mean that I'm not. I just don't associate these emotions with it anymore because I can't. Because half of the time I'm empty inside, and I need to just have this knowledge that I love her, we're together, and these feelings will come back because they always do. So in the absence of these emotions, I tell myself I don't need an emotion to dictate my truth, because I really don't. So and during the day, when I do start separating or going through that object constancy issue, I tell myself it's okay, it'll come back. But I noticed that because of my meditation practice and what I've been doing, that it's been getting a lot better. So now I don't jump when the phone rings in fear that she's going to call me and say she's leaving me, or she doesn't text me back right away. I don't freak out. She must be with someone else. She's going to leave me. No, because I know her. I know she exists, and I know her as a human being, and she's not this type of person, and I can't let this BPD dictate to me who she is or what she's about, because it's all untrue. So you put these little yellow flags on everything and remind yourself during meditation, and hopefully that could help with object constancy. So thanks for listening, and I hope that helps. I'm Eskimo Jones, and this has been 7 Diggy.